Hold the door open. Why faith-based recovery must be part of the answer. In October 2022, I was at a pond here in Enid, Oklahoma, not to admire the water or to enjoy the evening, but because I was at a place where I'd run out of reasons to keep going. Addiction had stripped everything from me, my clarity, my dignity, and what felt like my future. That night, I made a phone call, and within weeks, I walked into Celebrate Recovery meeting for the first time, not knowing it would change my entire life and the course of my entire life. Today, I stand before you with more than 3 years of sobriety. I served as co chair of several men's groups. I work every day with children with special needs. And in May of this year, I will marry the woman who walks with me through my healing, Brandy. The distance between that night in the at the pond and where I stand now, the distance has a name. And today I want to tell you what it is and why it matters and what we need to do about it. Here's the reality that we live in right now. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, more than 48 million Americans aged 12 and older struggle with substance use disorder in 2022 alone. That's roughly 1 in 6 people in this country. And yet, of those 48 million people, only about 13% received any form of treatment. Let that sink in. 13%. Now, you might say, well, at least that's 13% that got help. But here is where it gets harder. Research published in Alcohol Research and Health found that traditional clinical treatment models, as valuable as they are, frequently leave out the social, spiritual, and community dimensions of recovery. And without those dimensions, relapse rates run as high as 40 to 60% within the first year. We are treating the symptoms, but for millions of people, we are not yet treating the whole person. So, what fills this gap? What addresses the mind, the body, and the spirit? What builds community that lasts beyond the treatment center? Faith-based recovery programs. Celebrate Recovery was founded in 1991 and now operates in more than 35,000 churches worldwide. It is a Christ-centered 12-step program built to address all hurts, habits, and hang-ups, not just substance use, grief, trauma, anxiety, broken relationships, all of it. And the research backs this up. Kenneth Pargament, in his landmark work, The Psychology of Religion and Coping, documented that spiritual coping resources significantly enhance resilience and long-term well-being, particularly during periods of personal crisis. Dr. Leanne Cascas, in the Journal of Addictive Disease, reviewed 16 years of data and found that individuals engaged in spirituality oriented peer support groups maintain sobriety at more than double the rate of those who are not. Think about it, more than double. And Dr. Alexandra Laudet, writing in Substance Use and Misuse, found that individuals connected to meaning-centered, community-based recovery reported greater life satisfaction, greater sense of purpose, and significantly reduced relapse risk. What does that look like in real life? It looks like men showing up every Tuesday night, not because they're required to, but because they know someone there by name and someone there knows them. My grandfather, Reverend Lauren Jones, taught me that integrity is the key to life. I believed him, but addiction made me forget. Celebrate Recovery became the room, the community to rebuild that integrity, one honest conversation at a time. I want you to imagine two futures for me. In the first future, we act. Addiction treatment centers across America establish formal referral partnerships with faith-based recovery programs. Churches open their doors wider. Families find not just a program for their loved ones, but a community that will walk with them for years. Data suggests that even modest increases in peer support participation could prevent hundreds of thousands of relapses annually. In that future, that man at the pond gets more than a detox bed. He gets a name, someone who will text him on a hard Tuesday, who will sit him with him through a step study, who will remind him what he is worth. In the second future, we do nothing. People continue cycling through treatment centers without a community anchor on the side. The clinical system does what it can, but without the relational and spiritual dimensions research tells us are essential, the revolving door keeps spinning. We can't afford to leave peer and spirituality oriented support on the sidelines of treatment. The data will not allow that conclusion. So here's what I'm asking you to do, and what will make this simple and concrete. First, on a personal level, if you or someone you love is struggling, visit CelebrateRecovery.com. Find a meeting. Walk in. You do not have to be fighting addiction to belong there. CR exists for every hurt, habit, and hang-up that affects human dignity, including yours. Second, on a community level, talk to your local hospitals, treatment centers, and churches. Ask them whether they have a referral relationship with a faith-based recovery ministry. If the answer is no, ask why not. That conversation matters. Third, on a systematic level, contact your state and local representatives. Research says makes clear that meaning-centered, community-based recovery is not just spirituality, right? It is a sound, cost-effective public health investment. Our policy frameworks needs to reflect that. I want to take you back to the pond one more time. I was there, convinced the story was over. I didn't know, I could not have known that I was about to walk into a room full of people who had been exactly where I was, who would speak truth to me when I needed it and grace when I needed that more. Today I stand before you as proof that faith-based recovery is not a supplement. It's not a last resort. It is not a niche program for a certain kind of person. It is proven, life-giving, community-anchored response to one of the most devastating crashes of our time. We know the problem. We have the solution. We have the evidence. The only question that remains is whether we are willing to act, whether we are willing to hold the door open for the person who needs it most. My grandfather told me integrity was the key to life. Faith-based recovery came to me the chance to find mine again. It's time to hold the door open. The question is, will you?